Hey friends, I'm out here at Titusville, Florida, across the river from Cape Canaveral. You might be able to see in the background. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's too bright. Let me see. Maybe I can get out here, get out in the sun. Maybe it'll clear up some. There's the space shuttle building. Visited there. It's kind of wild. Anyway, it's down here contemplating the meaning of life. Probably contemplated that many times before. With all the stuff's been going on, of course, the last 18 months with the virus and all that stuff. Seems like it's got to the point where you can't hardly trust anything anybody's saying. You know, what's good, what's bad. We're gonna do the 15 days for the slowdown, and it turns out to be pretty much 18 months. Get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. Everybody's got their thinking about all that. Interesting as it is, it's still a free country, I think, and I know 6 or 8 months ago they were saying, we're not going to have any kind of mandates that everybody's got to get vaccinated. We're not going to have a vaccine passport where everybody's got to have that to be able to go certain places and stuff, and we can see that's already turned out to be incorrect. Happening, of course, in Europe, and they're debating it as we speak right now over here, what you're going to be able to do, what you're not going to be able to do. Now, you got states, cities, especially some large cities, already implemented a mask mandate again. With some of this spike in the Delta variant and stuff. Also heard that they were going to stop reporting people that got the virus if they had already been vaccinated, so that'll skew the numbers. Only the unvaccinated will be reported in our numbers. I think in Israel, I just saw a couple of different articles I read about over there. Of course, they were right off the bat pretty strong in getting everybody they could vaccinated, and just about their whole population's vaccinated, and it's like 83% of the people that have come down with COVID and hospitalized are already vaccinated. Hopefully not, it's not as serious with the jab for them, and they're expecting over the next 3 to 4 to 5 weeks that we'll start getting a lot heavier in the Delta variant around here. And of course, I'm down here in Florida. We're having a little spike anyway. Seems like I was in the same place beginning of July last year. Decided to come on down and see what was going on, and everybody was doing about like they wanted to, and it was July the 2nd. And then by the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they actually closed down the beaches because they kept showing stuff on the TV down here, maybe across the country, I don't know, about people on the beach and everything, and how many folks were down there on the beach. I was at Fort Lauderdale, and it was skewed because I was sitting right out there. I even was on the 2nd floor across the street in Fort Lauderdale, if you're familiar with the beach down there. I think it was a Taco Bell where you can sit up there, and it's kind of an open area that you can view across the beach and stuff, and sit up there and viewed the beach and everything. And I was there whenever the movie camera people or the TV news people were out there videotaping, and they were mostly giving shots down the beach where you could see a long ways down the beach, and it looked like a lot of people were crowded out there. But actually on the beach, there probably wasn't anybody that was within 20 feet of each other. You had some little clusters of just families that were together, and maybe some friends also that were together, but they were not, it wasn't like it was, they were showing it on the TV, like I say, whether they did that intentionally or not, can't really say, but that's just how it seems like most of the stories come out. So now we're in a situation where, well, I don't know, maybe 40% of the country hadn't been going and got the jab yet, and probably, from what I'm hearing, about 75% of those people are probably not going to get it either, because they just don't want to get it. And now we're running into this stuff where the moms, and mainly the moms, and this is from every spectrum, political spectrum, whatever, with the kids getting ready to go back to school. It's going to be a big blow up. They're already having blow up at school board meetings and county meetings and stuff like that, where groups of 500 people are showing up because they want to give the kids the shot. And if you know the numbers, I don't think there's been maybe a couple hundred kids below 18 years old that's even passed away, and they all had comorbidities, some kind of major issue or whatever with their health. But it just doesn't affect them. I can't really see the reason why you would take that chance. Maybe as an older person, I understand why you would want to do that, because it affects older people, of course, by the numbers. It's like 95% of all the people that have died from COVID in this country were over, I think, 55 years old. And most of them had, more than one major issue. It was only like, I think they finally came out and said there's only like 20 or 30,000 people that actually died that didn't have any issues at all with their health that was known or could be found. But coming up on the fall, when the kids start going back to school, which actually really is only a few more weeks away, maybe a month, it's probably going to blow up. A lot of kids are probably not going to be in school if they think that parents think that they're going to try to give them the jab without letting them know and stuff like that. And, they're talking about that too, whether they'll do that or not. And of course, most of your major colleges, they've already said that you won't be going to school there if you don't have the jab. So that's going to mess up some plans for a whole lot of young folks trying to get their life started and everything that, that don't want to get it. I mean, they're 18 years old. Just hardly, no major issues with anybody in those age groups from 18 to 29. Very few. I think maybe because the Delta variant spreads a little faster, you'll probably see more in those age groups, younger age groups, get it. But as far as the effect it's going to have on them, it's going to be very minimal. And of course, the other big thing, is the what I believe, and talk to people in the pharmaceutical field that I know, and they're very leery of it too, but they really can't speak about it publicly because that's where they get their paycheck from. But there's so many more things out there that will work, and actually some of them that are very, very effective. As a matter of fact, even as effective as getting the jab is, and have been known about it. I even reported on one back in July when I was down here in Florida, where I had been doing some research and studying case about some it's like an inhaled steroid that people take that do have respiratory issues and stuff like that, and they had already done case studies. And now, since then, a year later, Oxford Medical or whatever, Oxford University, which is the oldest university in the world, you would think you would believe them, but hasn't gotten any traction whatsoever. And this has been a few months ago, maybe as far back as February, where they did a study on inhaled budesonide. And they went through the whole process, wrote a formal paper, gave it out to all the people that need to have it and everything like that, but you hadn't heard anything about it. But their study showed that anybody that would get that treatment once they got the or were positive, for COVID, if they got that treatment, then 95% of them never went to the hospital. 95% of the people would have never died. That's a lot. I mean, you're talking about 5% of what they're saying, 600,000 right now. 30,000 deaths, not even as much as a normal flu vaccine if they'd have just had that one treatment. And widely available, been using it for years, know the safety issues with it, which are only, nothing, they just don't have it. But it supposedly stops the spread of the infection for the virus in your lungs, which is what you're looking for, because that's where you get in trouble at. But anyway, and also all the studies, there's been with the inhaled budesonide, there's been 88 peer-reviewed studies that have been done, and they just don't get any traction. Same thing with the ivermectin. That's been a real big deal. Same thing with it, anywhere between 70 to 90% effectiveness there if you take that, and saving lives, and plus the effects it'll have on you later on from the from the virus. It reduces those down to nothing, where you get a near 100% recovery if you do get sick. And that's going to mean a lot to a lot of people, because I do know some people that have had it. So, I'm not dismissing the virus or nothing like that, they had some comorbidities and it did affect them. And I'm just telling you, I don't know how long it'll take them to ever recover. They're home and everything like that, but they're constantly having to go back to the hospital for emergency issues, little strokes and stuff like that. But if they'd have just had that, then I'm thinking they would have been in good shape. The other thing was, I had people that worked for me, that 6 or 7 of them that I was around every day, that ended up getting the COVID, tested positive for it, had the symptoms. One of them that got a little bit sick, he was about 63 years old. But what really surprised me was that that when they went to their doctors or called their doctors told them there wasn't anything they could do for them, and they weren't offering any kind of treatment or anything. They said, you'll just have to come back when you get a negative test. I'm like, when you get a negative test, what if you ain't around to get a negative test? That's crazy. So kind of scared me. I called my doctor, and he's a very sharp individual. And I talked to him, and I was like, if I catch this bug, are you going to give me anything to help me out? And he was like, Lord, yes. What in the world are you talking about? I told him the situation with the guys that I work with and stuff, and all their doctors were not giving them anything. Just tell them, to drink plenty of fluids, take some aspirin or Tylenol, whatever it was, to ibuprofen, to cut down on some of the symptoms, whatever it might be. He said, no, man. He said, if you call me and you've tested positive or you think you've got it, he said, you'll just come around to my back door, and he said, we'll put a spacesuit on and go out there or whatever. And I think at that point in time, he was talking about remdesivir and a zinc regimen that they were, a protocol that they were doing that was doing really well. And I went to see him again a couple of times since then, and that was last summer. And I've asked him, specifically, hey, how's the treatment going, everything going fine? He said, I've not had a patient that has come to see me, and probably over 400 or 500, I think is the number he used, that we've given, a protocol treatment to, that have even got advanced enough to even go to the hospital. So I thought that was pretty impressive, and but I just couldn't understand. He said, some of them don't want to touch it because, they've been told they can't do this, that, and the other. He said, I didn't get into medicine for that. He said, if they want to do some stuff like that and, not risk their, license or whatever, he said, that's on them. He said, but that's not the oath that I took whenever I became a doctor. He said, I'm here to save lives. There's something out there that's going to save lives. He said, I'm going to use it to do the best I can to help somebody out. And so I was impressed, anyway, to say the least, that, and I knew he was that guy anyway. I knew he was that type of person, that he's not afraid to, do what it takes, and that he stood for what I thought he stood for, which is, looking after people and making sure he helps sick people out and stuff. But anyway, it's kind of disappointing, and I know, just like it always does, of course you can't mention anything I just said on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever, because you'll get probably banned, or they'll take your video down or something like that. Or if you're on YouTube, you'll get a strike, or they may, even with the stuff I've talked about, they may even just ban your channel altogether and wipe out all your content. There's a lot of people that's already been wiped out. Everybody I know that were YouTube, what they call influencers or whatever, but they had their own channel, just really good people, trying to get information out there, digging through and actually going to meet people and stuff. It's just like the inhaled budesonide, and now there's like 250 or more clinics out there that is offering this treatment across the whole country, because a lot of your frontline doctors, which people used to listen to, and now they're getting banned, and they're being called quacks, and they don't know what they're talking about and stuff like that, and they've been doing this stuff all their life. They've got the clinics out there. There's actually, I looked up one, I think it's in Reidsville, North Carolina. Only one I could actually find in North Carolina if somebody wanted to get a treatment there for the inhaled budesonide. I can't remember the name of the clinic, but there's a website you can go to, and it tells you where every clinic's at, what their protocols are, and all that. But if you want to stand a 95% chance of not getting in any kind of trouble, then that's what you need to do. Do something to help yourself out. But anyway, going forward, it's going to be interesting seeing what's going to happen in the world, and all the stuff that's going over now is getting riled up overseas in Europe and France, Greece, Italy, Australia. I think the French got it started out with all these, I don't know if it's even on the TV, since I don't watch the news on the TV, but having all these protests and stuff, peaceful protests, hopefully, no violence. We don't want that. I think some of the police organizations or whatever over in the other countries may be getting a little bit feisty, shall we say, from what I understand. But that's probably going to come this way too at some point in time, when people just get tired of a lot of stuff, and especially the censorship and all that stuff like that. I mean, I understand that people keep saying, well, this is their business. If they don't want you to come in to eat supper without wearing a mask or something, then, or service you or whatever kind of business it is, and that's their right, and sure enough, it is. But I'm thinking that whenever the founders, put the Constitution together and the Bill of Rights and all that stuff, and the rights to have your freedom, and whether it's free speech for the people that are getting shadow banned and taken off of all the social media stuff, that stuff's okay. I mean, all the stuff that the one side says is always, it's okay to, these regimes overseas, Iran and stuff like that, they've still got their pages where they're talking about, destroying Israel and everything like that. And they can go in there and say that, but there's nothing wrong with that. But, and what you find out is a lot of the stuff, just like, you get banned in a minute for trying to say the virus started in the lab in China, and of course, how they did our previous president and all that stuff. And now they're admitting there's a 50-50 chance that that's probably where it came from and stuff like that. So when they banned you all then, was that was that correct or not correct? I don't know. Anyway, well, I think we've been going on and on a little bit about this stuff, but just want to get some thoughts out there, and like I say, contemplating what's going on in the world and, where it might be headed from here. But, it's like I said about the Constitution, all of our freedom of speech and stuff like that. I think that, it should be one of those things where they think you're stupid. So, like myself now, I do all the research. I find so many different places that I can go out there and get information, so and try to verify that they're actually top-notch people that are putting this stuff out, and especially studies and stuff like that. You can find that, and that's what you want to do and get the information for yourself. But I just believe that for the government or whatever, they think you're so stupid you can't look after yourself because you can't go get a voter ID when you find out everybody you meet, and you can ask anybody that's out there, it don't matter what race, creed, origin, whatever you come from, everybody's got an ID and they know how to get one. But they think you're stupid, and you don't know how to do that or can't get one or something like that. So that's just that's an argument that's, if you've got any intelligence at all, you know that's stupid. But same way with, the freedom of speech thing. Why don't they let all the information out there and let people decide? It's not going to change the way people, it might flip some from that side to this side and this side to that side or whatever, but at least they'll get a chance to make the, decision themselves. And hopefully it'll be the right one in the long run, because like I say, just like all these conspiracy theories through the time I've been alive, they always seem to come around somehow. There was never really a conspiracy theory. There was always a basis of fact in it and everything. They just put information out to skew it to keep everybody confused about what was going on. But I read a article a few weeks ago about 33 conspiracy theories, and I was like, man, there ain't been 33 conspiracy theories since I've been alive or whatever. And it went all the way back to about in the 60s or whatever, when there was one thing after another. And as I read through those things and found out what really happened, what was going on, and I was almost every single one of them. Only hardly maybe one or two that I didn't even know about, but I just didn't know, that it was that many of them. Over time, it kind of just gets away from you. But where there was always some truth to it or whatever, or it was fully true, even worse than what we thought. But everybody was a conspiracy theorist. Everybody was just putting out misinformation and this, that, and the other. But I think we find out, it's just like I've heard somebody say before, there are no conspiracies, but there's also no coincidences. And I believe it's true. I ain't just talking about, simple coincidence things. I'm talking about real big stuff, going on in the world. But I say let the people figure it out for themselves. And the only reason, the media and the social media and the news media and all that, they're carrying water for whichever side they want to carry water for. And they're going to, as we know now, that the White House is, working with the social media companies and telling them what to take down and what not to take down. But have they done their research? And if they have done their research, are they just lying, or they not think that all these frontline doctors or whoever, whenever they got something that they want to tell people that they found out, that's not reasonable nowadays for people to know the information, so that don't mean it's going to stop them from doing this or make them do that or whatever. But I'm just saying it's crazy. And I would think that those folks too, if it's not like a terrorist threat or pornography or something like that, if they want to have guidelines like that, I understand that. But just to take down regular people, and Lord knows, like I say, I don't even know, dozens of people on YouTube that had built large channels, man, that were reporting really good stuff, on the scene stuff, flying across the country, going to places and talking to doctors and this, that, and other, just to try to get the information out to people. And one kid, he was 18 years old, maybe 19, just graduated from high school, and I've been messing around with YouTube for years, and he was reporting stuff. I think he was up to 300,000 or 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. Man, the kid is great, just a very, very smart, funny, probably making a ton of money too, because he had a lot of likes and a lot of people viewing. He'd got his stuff monetized, and all the things, the ways you could make money, he was making money off of that thing, and that's fine. If that's, because that just comes with it when you get all the views and everything like that. But his main thing was just trying to, get real information out to people, and, verified. And, of course, he put his thoughts in it too and stuff like that. But this is a black kid that, just super, super great guy. And when they took him down, they took all of his content off he had ever published, and just zapped it and shut him down, where he can never, probably as long as he breathes, can never go back to YouTube again. after he worked so hard to build his channel up and stuff like that. Anyway, that's just one example. There's a bunch of guys out there though, and they're finding other ways to get their information out. They're not quitting. It's not about money. I mean, most of them without YouTube, they're not going to make enough money to pay for what they're doing anyway. But with the new stuff that's come out like Odyssey and Rumble, and then this newest one, Getter, that's kind of I think it's going to knock Twitter out over some point in time, to where it's a lot smaller than what it is now. It might not get rid of it, but it's really good. Platform's great. And like I say, there's a lot of them. Gab, MeWe, y'all know all the ones and stuff like that. I mean, they've tried to come up with so many of them that it's hard to figure out where everybody's going to be at. But me not really doing a whole lot on social media, do a little Facebook to stay in touch with my friends and family and stuff like that, and see pictures of the babies and share a little, life experience and stuff. It's a great thing. I mean, it really is the best thing in the world. But when they turn against you, and if it hadn't happened to you, and a lot of people are not going to, even if I see people around that, they'll talk to you face to face, and that might even be the first thing they start talking about. What do you think about this and what do you think about that? But Lord, they wouldn't say nothing like that on Facebook, to save your life. They wouldn't comment on anything you put on Facebook if it was controversial. And I get that, and that's all well and fine. And some of them just want to use it for their friends and family stuff, and that's, like I say, that's all well and fine. But there's a lot of information that people need to know, and sure not going to be able to do it with your Facebook and your Twitters and your YouTubes and Google, especially Google. They're just they're horrible. They're just horrible. And people don't want to believe it, but it's already been proven. They're just using algorithms just to push certain information away, so you don't even get that. You can't even, if you search for it, you can't even get it. I can search so much stuff on DuckDuckGo and get so many more articles, because you're getting everything. So you get a chance to decide what's good or bad or whatever, but it's not that way with Google. They put up there, in some kind of algorithm to what their particular beliefs or whatever, whoever they're carrying water for, show up at the top, and they even kill a lot of stuff where it won't even find stuff. And you can still find articles about all kinds of stuff out there, but it's amazing how different it is though whenever there are no algorithms and it's just using trending or whatever, most viewed or whatever it is, instead of putting all the other crap in there. But it's just been an interesting time in my life, of course, my first so-called pandemic or whatever, but I'm not sure if you look up the word pandemic, normally that's something that wipes out a huge part of the population. I'm talking about in the 20, 30, 50% range or whatever. I'm not sure how this would be considered in that definition. Doesn't really seem like it's Will Smith and I Am Legend. If you watch that movie, it's not that kind of virus that has taken over and killed a bunch of people, or all your, gosh, I can't even think of all the different movies that have been out that, have stuff like that where some disease, knocks out most of the population. There's only a few million or 100 million left out of 7 billion or whatever. I'm sure y'all know all the names to them, but that's what I perceive as a pandemic. Maybe not that large in the movies or the Hollywood stuff, but yeah, what we've had is very, very low percent of the population. Considering we got 320 or 30 million. Oh, and the other little thing is, not disparaging anybody, but they're so concerned about, this Delta variant and all that stuff. And we're bringing over, I think last month they said it was like 100, in June it was 180,000 people came across the border. And I've seen reports, I'm sure they're not on the mainstream media, but I've seen the videos and the reports where they were using the Air Force Base in Texas, it's Laughlin or something like that, but they were actually flying immigrants from other countries into the Air Force Base. They leaked out a memo that the head of the Air Force Base out there put out, where he was telling his staff and all the people that worked there that they were not to speak to any reporters or talk about it, nothing like that. They were flying, it was like 6 or 7, like 747 loads into the Air Force Base from other countries, and then reloading them and divvying them out to send them to other cities. We even got one in Greensboro that I know of that was reported. People saw it landing and saw the kids and stuff getting off of there, and the young teen males, which most of them are that age, though I don't understand that. What a lot of people call military age males from other countries and stuff, from Guatemala and Honduras, and the multitudes are not coming from Mexico. I mean, there's a lot from there, but they got Haitians that came in, maybe some from Dominican Republic. I'm thinking that was one of them. But it's just it's amazing that they had all these planes, and of course, even before that, before the thing came out about the Air Force Base, they were, putting them on buses and taking them to the airports. And there's videos out there of them sitting in the airport waiting for the flight with his package full of money and whatever, and took some to Chattanooga, Tennessee. My buddy went out and checked that out. So he lives right outside of Chattanooga, and when he heard about it, they went out there and got some footage of them unloading all these kids from the plane and stuff. And then another one in Kentucky that somebody knew about, and they got some footage of that. And all the other cities are reporting the same thing, but nobody knows where they're going to and what they're doing with them. And some of them are just plain loads of small kids. They separate the males, the older males, and the females, and then all the kids, they put them all together, and all of them are sent different places, not really understanding what's going on there and where they're going to. But it's kind of been crazy. As you get more information that you can't get by watching TV, they're not going to tell you all that. But there's plane loads of them going all over this country as hard as they go. You know how long it would take, how many plane loads it would take to divvy out 180,000 people in 1 month around the country? I mean, even if you get a couple hundred on a large plane, that's like, 800 or 900 plane loads. I know that sounds almost too outrageous. It really does. And of course, carrying the Delta variant, if that's an issue, if it means anything, they're not vaccinating them, they're not treating them or whatever, they're just loading them up, they're all together, sending them around. So if we were worried about, the Delta variant, whenever we started hearing about it in South America or India or wherever it first popped up at, I think it might have been India, why didn't we shut the flights from out of the country down again, to travel from out of the country, and kind of lock our border down again with this new variant, since they already knew it was it spread quicker, maybe not quite as deadly, but it spread so much quicker, and which we're seeing some of that in some of the places around the country here now, and especially overseas, spreading really fast, but not as deadly though. But why didn't we do something like that whenever we started hearing about the new variant? That doesn't make any sense. Well, they really couldn't do that as long as they were letting all the immigrants come in from everywhere. And when the immigrants wanted to come from Cuba, when they started raising Cain last week, why in the world did the administration take the stance that they were going to stand with the Cuban government, communist government, instead of standing with the Cubans, the people that have been oppressed for all these years? I mean, it's crazy. It's hard to even understand or whatever, but I believe it's because that is where they stand, and that's what they want to do here. It's like the $4.2 trillion more dollars they want to spend and everything. I mean, it's every social program that the one side of the aisle has wanted to do as long as I've been alive, and they're going to want to do it all in one fell swoop and get everything in place. And it's just like stuff that's been going on, and not necessarily that is one side or the other, but electric cars, giving a rebate for buying electric cars, is owning an electric car, is it a viable business? I mean, if it's not, why does it need to survive. I mean, why does everybody else that pays taxes have to pay for a rebate? Because it's coming out of your money, you're paying, and you don't make enough money, you can't afford an electric car, but you're paying for some richer person or somebody with quite a bit more money to buy an expensive electric car, and they get a $5,000 or $6,000 rebate back every year. That's cash money, and that's coming straight out of the taxes. If it's not a viable industry, why is it allowed to exist? Or if you don't, feed them all that extra money, why would they try to do better so they can get the price of the car down where people can afford it? Same thing with ethanol. Why are they subsidizing ethanol? Doesn't make any sense to me. If ethanol going in gas is not a viable option, and it's too expensive, which it is, that's why they subsidize the ethanol from the corn and stuff. I know a lot of people don't know about it or don't think about it, but the amount of corn that we sent out to other countries that actually needed it, and probably more people starved whenever we started making ethanol. If you care about other people and stuff like that, why did we subsidize the ethanol stuff? Because it was so much more expensive to go in our gas, and it ruins your carburetor, your catalytic converter, the pumps that they pump it out of. If you may not even know that. Got a friend that works with a company that services all these big gas stations, and they're large, and they have to go in there and replace the motors, the pumps, all kinds of stuff, valves and stuff like that in these pumps every so often, because of the moisture that builds up when you put ethanol in gasoline, and just a lot more damage there. So, and it doesn't make your gas any cheaper. It's just the green energy thing, So if it wasn't a viable solution, other people would have come up with other stuff. We don't give the human being the credit for being using their ingenuity and coming up with other stuff. If one thing don't work, to do something else that will work. As far as I'm concerned, it's just it's stupid, and it's just letting the politicians or whatever have their way with all just blowing cash left and right. Won't even get into the climate change thing, because that's a whole nother conversation or whatever, but it is the same thing there. All the top scientists and weather people and all that stuff like that, all of them have been silenced too. Same thing. When they used to be the head of their field and this, that, and the other, now if they don't agree with it, then, or they don't see it as devastating or whatever the narrative is for today, same thing there. They just get silenced. You don't get to hear from them. They don't use their studies. They just pick the studies that match their narrative. And I love a clean, beautiful environment. Look where I'm at. My God, I don't want this to change for the worse. Maybe change for the better if it gets better. But it's it's a beautiful land that we live in, and I don't know of anybody on either side of the aisle that wants anything to happen to our country and anywhere in the world either, to hurt or damage people. So, and our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever it might be, can inherit, this place that God gave us to look after, no doubt about that. And I don't like people polluting, so, or damaging the environment or whatever. Seen a little bit of it through my time, so had some experience behind that, and never was happy about any of that stuff, and there are some people that will do it, so we do know that. Anyway, like I say, just sharing some thoughts, and I know I can get off on a tangent here and there every now and then. There's just so much, though, and that I would want people to know about, and just to get some information out there. Maybe to get somebody thinking about what's going on. I don't know how many people even see this, but I'll put it out there for people to see. If they want to spend 40 minutes of their life just listen to me ramble on, then that'll be great. Anyway, whatever channel this comes on, if you like it, you can subscribe or whatever when I put something else out. I hope it'll be well thought out and well researched, and maybe you'll agree with some of the things I say. But sure would appreciate any support that you might have, because definitely not going to do anything but lose money by messing with all this stuff. But I'll do that to try to at least get some information out there when I feel like it's getting jammed up by whoever. I don't care what side you're on. I mean, if you're not telling it like it is, I'm gonna tattletale on you. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, love all y'all, and love to share with you. So y'all have a great day, and I'm gonna enjoy this little vacation down here. Maybe go over there and see an Atlas rocket take off. That's a pretty big deal down here. There's no SpaceX mission, so won't get to see that, but maybe I'll get to see that big Atlas rocket take off. I think it's maybe Friday at 2:30 or something. But that'll be interesting. I might even try to get me a front row seat. Feel the heat on my face. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Love y'all.